our second art student. So he is interested in creative animation, drawing, and creative writing. And in his application to this internship, he wrote, "I feel people are never born with hate in their hearts. They learn it." And he wanted to serve as an intern here so he could learn more about the Holocaust, like many, but also because he appreciated the mission of the center and teaching others about our differences to prevent hate. He interviewed survivor Claire Leader, an artist, which was why I paired them together, and her works hang in the permanent collection of the National Museum of American Jewish History and in the Smithsonian Institute in Philadelphia. Now, Claire was unable to be here today, but Noel, would you come up and share her story with us?
Before I start this, I just want to say thank you for everyone for coming here. This really means a lot to all of us. Oh, you can't hear, I'm sorry. I just want to say thank you to every single one of you, to the survivors, to the interns who most of them I've become friends with. If I haven't, I'm sorry about that. I'm a little shy. Thank you to the parents who've come here, who've taken their time out of work or to do anything they wanted to do today. And I'll just get started now. So, Claire was just more than an artist. She was a teacher, she was a mother, and she was a wife. Claire Leader was born on August 11, 1927, in Vienna, Austria. Now, Austria was this beautiful city. It had many public buildings, churches, which was about 365 churches, one for each day of the week that she likes to joke about, and sidewalk cafes, and the sound of the Viennese waltz everywhere. Her mother was very loving. She filled her childhood with a love of nature that she would never forget. She even installed this into her children every day. Once in a while, she would take her children up into the mountains, no phones, no nothing or anything like that, and just appreciate the view. Just look at the rise of the sunset and as it falls into the ground. Now, Claire never really had a father, or not a traditional one that most people are probably used to. Her father died when she was about 2 years old, and her grandfather ended up becoming her surrogate father. And her grandfather, as in her words I'm describing right now, is he was a very wonderful man, a very kind and generous person. He was also very religious, very kind to his Christian neighbors. He didn't judge, he wasn't racist or anything like that. And every night they would teach each other the Sherman. Well, I'm sorry, not teach each other. She would teach her the Sherman, which was one Hebrew word at a time, and she still recites this nightly. Now, her whole life wasn't all about, it wasn't rainbows or sunshines or anything like that. She did experience anti-Semitism, and this is a very serious thing with her. She experienced it at the time she was going to elementary school. In front of the time, every morning, the Catholic school that she went to would recite the prayers for Jesus each morning, and the few Jewish students would just stare and gawk at them, knowing the fact that behind under their breaths of each of the Catholic children, they would call them dirty Jews, and sometimes they would say it right to her face. But Claire didn't really mind that. She took it with pride, and she kept excelling at her work. She had the highest grades of her class. She excelled at athletics. She did everything she could, until one fateful night. Now, every Friday evening they would have the Sabbath dinner. And on this one lucky night, her grandfather let her listen to the radio, which was unheard of at the time. And this was possibly the worst time to her to listen to the radio, because she heard that Hitler himself was coming to Vienna. And this one little thing, this one person, this one individual changed her whole perspective. Changed her whole perspective, because the next morning she saw swastikas everywhere. Swastikas when she went outside to school. Swastikas when she went into the classroom. She saw German soldiers who were once thought as friends. And they're cheering this one man, this one very evil man, as they scream out saying "Hi Hitler," because he promised something that he might deliver to a few people, but not to all. So, in the following morning, all the Christian neighbors decided to ransack her grandfather's apartment, leaving nothing behind. And the stuff that was behind were either damaged, spat on, or stepped on. And after that was happened, before she could even get the chance to even comfort her grandfather, she found out she was expelled from her elementary school because she was Jewish. She was made fun of because she was Jewish. They told lies about her because she was Jewish. And what really hurt her the most was she couldn't do any of the activities she wanted to. She could never go outside with her mother out in nature. She couldn't hang out with her friends. Her one Christian friend called Erica Chorotsky, who were together since elementary school, going on to middle school, and eventually maybe high school. But they never saw each other again. And eventually, one afternoon, when her mother was out of her apartment building, going out shopping, they put a crucifix on top of her apartment door. They locked everything. They took away all of her stuff, and there was no way she could get it back, because most of the people would say, "Oh, she was a liar." And at the time, who was going to believe the word of one person when a group of people were just agreeing with one lie? And the worst of it, that she really wanted to know, was the fact that was her parakeet okay? She had one tiny bird that she enjoyed playing with. It taught her tricks. It flew in the air. It did everything that she ever wanted to do. It was the love of her life. And to find out that it was either dead or alive devastated her. And about 1 week after that, she came down with the flu. And even worse than that, 2 Nazi soldiers banged into her door. And they were just banging, 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 saying in German, "What's the matter with her? Who's in there? I know there's, excuse my language, where are the dirty Jews?" But thanks to her luck and the fact that she was sick, the German soldiers did not touch her, but they did take her grandfather away from her, and made her grandmother scrub the entire road of her sidewalk, while all of her Christian friends just gawked and looked at her without any remorse or anything like that. The people that she fed, the people that she was friends with, the people that they lived with each other for many, many years, even a few of them that grew up with her mother, ignored her and say, "I don't know this person." And I never did. After that week, her grandfather was released, with the exception of the fact that the only reason you were let out, and this is told by the German's perspective, which eventually led back to her mother's ears, was we ran out of cages to put, I'm sorry again, the dirty Jews in there. So her grandfather wasted no time and no expense trying to get Claire Leader out of VNS. As much as it would hurt her mother and her grandparents, she just had to leave. She just had to leave to relatives that were in the United States of America. And the last thing that she could remember from her mother, as she looked her directly in the eyes and said, and I quote, "I will come back for you. We will meet up in America, and we will continue living our lives as we did in Vietnamese." That wasn't until 12 years later. And eventually there, Claire already had her life. She was living her life. She already had a husband. She already had children by that time. But they did end up getting back together. That was the point. And what was really touching was the fact that they struggled, the fact that they were on two different corners of the globe. Her mother was trying to get out of, trying to get the Viennese before Hitler could get his hands on them. She fled to Shanghai, where she spent most of her nights wondering, is Claire okay? Is she going to be okay? Knowing the fact that Claire was doing the same thing for her. Eventually, Claire ended up going to high school and eventually to college to pursue a career in art and education. And she had a joy of it. She had a joy of teaching children. She had a joy of teaching people of all ages. She even had some of her artwork displayed, some of it still up there today. And she wants to, and in her artwork that she showed me, I wish she was here, because her artwork is just something I can't really describe with words, but only can be shown through just watching it. Was the fact that she's been through much. She's been through so much. But she doesn't consider herself a survivor. She's never been in a Holocaust camp. She's never seen Hitler at all. She's only heard stories about him, and through her imagination has imagined him as this great big evil monster, which he is. But she really wanted to convey in her artwork, the little messages that most people kind of forget when she's doing her artwork, is the fact that there is hope. There is hope for the future. There is that tiny little glimmer of a bright light that most people tend to forget or tend to ignore because hope is just way out of their reach. But no matter how many times I try to convince her that her story means not just to me, but to actually all of history, she couldn't really forgive herself. And to this day, she has to live with the guilt of the fact that she's never really suffered as most of the survivors have today. On that, but I don't know. But what I got from her, she was just a wonderful woman. She made me laugh when I felt nervous. She held my hand when I was writing. She gave me advice about about her artwork, and telling me that she would give me advice on how to make a living on my artwork. She even told me to go after education career because she gave me a real talk and said that you can only go so far with your artwork if you're not willing to put that 100% effort into it. And she was worried for the fact that I might forget, that she might just be another name in history that I could just brush away. But I swear to you, and I swear to the people watching on these videos right now, that I will not forget. I will spread her message. I will spread her ideas. I will spread her history, her life, her past, her present, and hopefully that in the future we can avoid something like this from ever happening again. Because nobody wants a second Holocaust. Nobody wants a World War III, and nobody wants war. Everybody wants peace. And isn't peace nice? Yeah. Sure. Well, when I was doing these pieces, it was actually 3 I was going through. And the reason why this one caught my eye the most was because I wanted something to be relatable. I didn't want just a symbol. I didn't want a person, because the Holocaust isn't defined by just one person. It's defined by a generation. a group of people, a race, and an idea. So I decided to do two twins. I do not know if they're alive or not. I'm really hoping that they are alive, and if they do, by some miracle, end up seeing this, because I really would love to talk to them and say about this picture. And the back picture was kind of like a kind of like a cartoonish kind of vibe about it. I really want to capture the artistic style of what two children who are going off to the Holocaust want to remember.
Oh yeah, what's the title?
The title was I Only Saw Another Butterfly. Oh, I'm sorry. The title of the painting is I Only Saw Another Butterfly.
Oh, like the book.
Yes.